last time we talked about Fascicle 8, the way to faith, or listening to the teaching. Okay, and now we are at Fascicle 9, which are again the 5 conditions for birth in the Pure Land. You know, we already talked about that many times, but if you want, we can talk again. And after,
actually, yes, please. I do have. Oh, sorry.
So we can talk again about that. Okay. So there are this teaching about the 5 conditions appeared in one of Renio's letters, and they are like this. So good from the past, Amida's light, a good spiritual teacher, Shinjin, and Nembutsu. These are the 5 conditions. So the good from the past represents our good karma from past lives, and also from this life, prior to the awakening of faith, which manifests itself as an opening or receptive state of mind towards the message of the primal vow. So this is what good from the past does. As we talked last time in our Zoom discussion, the fact that we are now so open towards Amida's primal vow is due to the fact that we made offerings to Buddhas in past lives. We venerated them. This might mean that we indeed were present during a Buddha's manifestation in this world, or that in another life, or in our life, or in this life prior to awakening to faith, we were devotional towards Buddhas. We practiced with devotion. We were respectful. So why is this so important? Because if you are respectful towards the Buddhas, if you are devotional and have faith in the Buddhas, then the Buddhas can guide you to Amida. Because this is what the Buddhas do. They are trying their best to guide us to Amida's primal vow, to help us entrust to Amida Buddha. So our Shinjin is due to Amida Buddha first and foremost, and also to the influence of and work of various Buddhas, including Shakyamuni, but not only Shakyamuni. For example, when I came to Jodo, when I converted myself to Buddhism, even before I practiced Jodo Shinshu, I used to pray a lot to Avalokiteshvara and ask him to guide me on the Buddhist path and to find the best practice that is suited for me. And I am convinced that my meeting with Jodo Shinshu came also due to Avalokiteshvara's help. Okay, so next, the spiritual teacher. So the spiritual teacher is the one who guides us on the path of reliance on the primal vow. So he is like a messenger, like a person pointing to the moon, to Amida Buddha. He urges us to take refuge in Amida, and he explains the Dharma to us. He answers questions to the questions and help us clear our doubts. His apparition is also a manifestation of the good from the past, you know. And this good spiritual teacher can be a person who is now in human form, or he can be a book written by somebody who lived many years ago, you know. Amida's light. Amida's light represents the working of Amida Buddha on us since beginningless time, because Amida Buddha has tried to influence us, to help us come to him since many, many lifetimes. So he was always present in front of us, trying his best to make us entrust into his primal vow and reach liberation. So it's Amida's light represents the working and the wish of Amida Buddha to save all sentient beings. So Amida's light is like a magnet, a big, immense magnet which attracts beings towards him. And sooner or later, all beings will come to Amida. So, because of the karmic good from the past, we meet with a good spiritual teacher, and we are opened to his teaching. Then Amida's light can enter our heart, can enter our minds, and in this way we receive faith or Shinjin. Then because we have Shinjin, which is the fourth condition, we say Nembutsu as a natural expression of faith and gratitude for being saved as we are. So these are the 5 conditions. It's very important to mention that the karmic good from the past and the spiritual teacher are only conditions that create a beneficial environment for Amida's light to manifest. But they are not the direct causes of birth in the Pure Land. So we are not born in the Pure Land because of good from the past only. Or we are not born in the Pure Land because of the good from the past or because of the spiritual teacher. They are only conditions to create a beneficial environment for Amida to influence us. Okay, so only faith or Shinjin is the direct cause of our birth in the Pure Land. It is very important. Okay, so faith and one more thing. Faith and the saying of the name are the manifestations of Amida's light in the heart of the practitioner, in the mind of the practitioner, and cannot exist independently of Amida's light. So this is very important. Only because of Amida's working and his wish to save us, Amida's light, we are able to entrust ourselves to Amida and say Nembutsu. So this is the mechanism. If you wish to add something.
It sounds like so each of the conditions flow from each other. That's one thing that when I read this and when you always discuss it, you always point that out. Each condition kind of flows from the previous. In a sense.
They are interconnected, but first and foremost is Amida's light, because Dharmakara became Amida Buddha, and because Amida wants to save all beings, this is the starting point, and so Amida created the karmic condition. He created a method through which you can come into karmic connection with him, so that he can save you. Because, as I always repeat, the salvation of Amida Buddha works in the law of cause and effect. It's all karma. He wants to save you. He sends his hands to you, and you accept his help. So this is karma. So otherwise, if you don't accept his salvation, if you don't accept his light into your heart and mind, you can't be saved. If you don't accept his helping hand and say no, you can't be saved. If you accept, you can be saved. That's simple. So,
is it a bit like? Sorry,
I was just going to say. So the first two are kind of like the first two conditions are kind of like opening the curtains. So the condition, good causes from the past, and working with a good teacher of the Dharma. they're like opening the curtains.
Yes.
They're like the opening the curtains conditions.
Or the windows.
And then also light can come in for the next condition. Yeah, the windows. Yeah, windows. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Is that
we open these two help us open the windows of our mind for the light to come in. And the light comes in and illuminates the room of our mind. And that illumination of our room is called Shinjin. This is why we say that Shinjin comes from Amida. It's like the light in the room comes from the sun. The light in this room is not produced by the room. It comes from the sun. But it can come from the sun if the windows are open. So this is what we do. We become opened by listening the Dharma, by asking questions, by being devotional and humble towards Amida Buddha. And then Amida can influence us. And we start to entrust to him. Yes. Please, Miyoshin, you wanted to say something.
Oh, no, I was just wondering, it was a bit like when it comes to the conditions from the good conditions from the past, where it was a bit like creating the right environments, like Gankai was saying, similar to the idea of maybe preparing the right environment to grow a plant. So you're not saved because of the good you did from the past, but it creates the right sort of environment for that plant to grow. Is that, have I got that?
I couldn't, it's a little difficult for me to understand your English, your British English. So please repeat. And here it's also raining. It's a storm outside. So it's very difficult to hear.
Oh, wow, okay.
I am in the middle of the storm. Please repeat. So the last part with the, you said something. Okay.
Okay, it's just I'm just wondering, the conditions from the past, is, and the good teacher is a bit like setting the right environment for if you wanted to grow a plant or something like that. Is it similar to that sort of idea?
Yes. I mean,
so because you're not actually.
Yes, please continue.
Oh no, sorry, I interrupted you. You carry on.
Okay. So. Yes, it's something like this. We can use various images to understand. So we have a seed. The peasant is Amida Buddha, and he wants to plant a seed. So and we are the soil. If we are if the soil is watered enough, then he can put the seed in the soil, and the seed can grow into a tree. So the seed is the seed is Shinjin. Amida tries to plant Shinjin into our hearts. And if we are good soil and watered, and this soil receives a lot of sunshine, then we can receive this Shinjin. And this grows into a tree, which actually goes into the tree of enlightenment, because Shinjin is the cause of enlightenment, is the cause of nirvana, is the cause of birth in the pure land. Yes, so yes, it is also like this.
I have a question about the good from the past. I sort of sometimes wonder, when I look at the way I am now, in terms of blind passions and delusions and attachments, I try and figure out when in the world would I have in any previous past life, considering that I was like that before in other lives, where would I have suddenly decided to, how would it have come about that this good from the past would happen? I'm not too sure that I'm putting that question too well.
So you are asking me when you turned your mind to the Dharma. It's very difficult to know.
What would have been the cause for that? Yeah.
What would be the cause for that? I don't know exactly how your past lives led you to the Dharma. I don't know because I can't see your past lives.
No,
But
no,
certainly, at some point in the past, you decided to follow the Dharma. And perhaps you were not a very serious practitioner from the start, but you were perhaps a lay person with wife and many kids, and perhaps many wives and many kids. I don't know. Perhaps you were very good with the ladies, and you didn't have time to practice the Dharma like a monk, but you offered. You made offerings to the Sangha and to the Buddha. And those offerings to the virtuous monks or to the Buddha himself or to one of the Buddhas in the past, that created a lot of merit and good karma, which later made you continue to follow the Dharma and meet with good circumstances to follow the Dharma again and be born again in human life, in human form. So many things like that. You just small, even small gestures of devotion. Perhaps in one lifetime you had devotion towards an image. Perhaps you saw an image of the Buddha and you bow to him in respect. So first time you see a Buddha image, that is an introduction into Buddhism, into the Buddhist teaching. And it is an introduction to the Buddha. This is why it is said that is, so this is, for example, it is said in many texts that it is beneficial for a person to see an image of the Buddha, even if he doesn't follow Buddhism at that moment, even if he is not serious about the Dharma at that moment, even if he is of a different religion, but to see the image of the Buddha, that means to create a connection, perhaps a first connection with the Buddha, even if you hate the Buddha at that moment, when you see his photo or his picture, that is also an introduction to the Buddha, and sooner or later it will grow into something bigger and bigger. So
it's interesting because in the Lotus Sutra, for example, it says that anybody that says so much as Namo Buddha is in the Buddha way. You know, it's sort of like if they just say that, just simple something like that, or they draw an image of a Buddha in the sand or something. I think it's just something along those sort of lines. So something like that, something as simple as that can, you know,
yes.
Am I right in thinking that can trigger things off?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So even when you say Namo Buddha, or when you bow to a virtuous monk or to a good teacher, or perhaps you give some food to a good teacher, or I don't know, or perhaps do something good to a manifestation of a Buddha, who is a secret manifestation, perhaps. You know, there are many examples in the Buddhist history. For example, there was a disciple in Tibet who saw a dog, and that dog had a lot of worms on his body, and he wanted to feed the dog. So he gave him food and also wanted to take the worms out of the dog's body. And because it was because it was very painful for the dog to be touched with the hands, then he tried to take the worms with his tongue. And in that moment, the dog disappeared and Maitreya Buddha appeared in front of him. So actually that dog was a manifestation of Maitreya Buddha to help him make merits, karmic merits. See? So there are many ways. Buddhas invent a lot of ways and methods to help us create karmic connections with them. So
I because I was been wondering this for some time, because I'm thinking, when in the world would I have done any good? If you see what I mean. But I can see how, you know, how Buddhists would instigate the whole thing by doing something like you've just described. You know, setting up a situation where, without actually knowing it, you've done something along the sort of lines.
It's enough to have one moment of devotion in a lifetime. When you do something good, you know, when your wives are asleep and you had enough, you just go and walk in the city and you see the Buddha and you offer something to eat to him, or you offer, you make an offering to a virtuous monk or a good teacher, and that is enough to it's a lot of good karma. Or perhaps you just go to a temple and you make a bow, a full bow.
Right,
if you make a full bow in front of a Buddha image, you might receive a lot of good karma. As many small sands, pieces of sand are under your body when you make that bow, you know. So it's
right. Yes,
immense.
that's skillful means. Oh, sorry. Yep.
Yes, yes.
No, that's all right. Another aspect of this, Myoshin, is we are bamboos. We're foolish beings with defiled karma, yes, but we're human beings, okay? And it's a rare thing to be born as a human being. There's certain over many lifetimes, there's certain types of karma that have to be accumulated for you to be born as a human being, because it's the best birth, the best opportunity to encounter the Buddha Dharma. So there is some, to be born as a human being, there is some, you've got some good causes there as well. Do you see what I mean?
Yes.
You had to have performed. Is it Sensei, is it moral practices? What is it that causes what's the main cause of, there's each realm has its sort of main cause of birth. I can't remember what the cause of human birth,
to be
ripening
born,
karma.
To be born in the human world, you have some kind of a mixture of good and bad karma. If your karma is too bad, then you go to the lower realms. If it's better, you can go up. But so human beings are in the middle. They usually they have a little from all blind passions, and they can also have a little from all good virtues.
Virtues.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's what I'm trying to say, Myoshin, is that's exactly that's the bit I wasn't expressing very well. Is we have had some virtuous conduct may have been spread over many different lifetimes, but it's there and it's ripened now for us to be born as humans. So that's an aspect. Do you see what I mean? It's not all bad, because we wouldn't have been humans if it was all bad karma. Yes. Type of thing. Yeah.
Yes. So
the other thing I wanted to say,
please.
Sorry.
Please continue.
Sensei, please.
No, you continue.
This is kind of coming back to. Okay, coming back to the other thing we were discussing about just making a bow to a Buddha, or within this lifetime, both before and after kind of learning about Pure Land Buddhism, I would do that wherever I was. If I was like in a garden center or in a department store, wherever I saw a Buddha, or even just one of those novelty shops, if I saw a little statue of a Buddha, I would go over to it and either just be reverent for a moment in front of it, or actually make a bow to it. And it was just something I sort of just did intuitively. Like I just thought I should do this. Do you know what I mean? I genuinely wanted to. And then I later learned the things that you're talking about. If you do one, if you just make one bow at some lifetime, you're in the, to a Buddha image. And I didn't even know that until, later on when I was reading Buddha or studying, Buddhism. This is before I learned, I really about that in depth. So I can imagine, that I could see where you could do that. You know, there's an urge to do that, even if, you know, even in past lifetimes where I maybe didn't even have as much, you know, I'm very fortunate to have been able to read, you know, to encounter so much about the Buddha, you know, the Buddha way in this lifetime. But I can see in other lifetimes where I may have just, you know, not had that same opportunity, but had that urge to, you know, see an image and, you know, just bowed to it because I had that experience now, even not knowing that I should do that. Do you see what I mean?
Yes, you could be.
That was a.
Even if you are a virtuous person and very good at understanding the Dharma, if you might not have devotion, so you might not be a person of faith. So if this is why many good practitioners, many virtuous practitioners don't are not open towards the message of the primal vow. Why is that? Because they didn't have devotion, too much devotion in the past. So they were not doing like us, offerings to the Buddha or bow to the Buddha. So this is why, you know, there are many practitioners who don't develop the devotional side. You know, they practice many even nowadays. They go to Buddhist centers and practice meditation like it's some kind of gymnastics, you know. So they like some breathing exercises. They just do zazen. They just do vipassana.
It's a workout.
Yeah.
Many people nowadays say we are doing only vipassana. We take vipassana out of the Buddhist context and we just sit and breathe, and that's not a good spiritual practice. Every spiritual practice that you do, vipassana, zazen, or other Buddhist practice, you have to also use devotion, bowing. You have to bow. You have to say the three refuges. This is also part of the spiritual practice. If you practice meditation without bowing and without the refuge, that is only a mental gymnastic and physical gymnastic. You know, it's not Buddhism. It's not
literally.
Also, if you don't mix your meditation practice with the precepts, you will also fail. So you can't just take meditation out of the Buddhist context and practice it alone. No, it's not good.
Well, that seems to me the problem with a lot of Buddhism in the West is that the guts of it has been ripped out and it's just used like a new age feel good type thing, you know, mindful awareness and that, and Buddhism's just planted across that. But that's nothing to do with real Buddhism. Real Buddhism is about becoming a Buddha.
Yes.
Ending suffering.
As Gankai also said in one of his last videos, there is no Buddhism without aspiration to become a Buddha. You are not a Buddhist if you don't aspire.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the other piece that you mentioned was, so there's the devotional, so good causes in the sense of devotion. We've shown devotion to a Buddha to have been born in a lifetime where we can encounter the Amida Dharma and be open to Amida's light, and find a good spiritual teacher and be open to Amida's light. But you mentioned also if we lived at the time of Shakyamuni.
I said that we offered, we made offerings to a Buddha in the past.
To a Buddha.
It can be, perhaps it was Shakyamuni, but it could be any other Buddha in past lives. So we lived eons.